I see many handsome guys as I go about my day, but I never know the right way to approach them, so I never say anything. Story 1. Most men would probably have no idea how to respond and might think they were being pranked or scammed. We are not used to anything like this. However, once we got over the shock and disbelief, it would be the greatest thing ever. Story 2. Honestly, I thought it was a joke or prank. I was looking around for a camera or something because I didn't want to be made fun of for someone else's entertainment. I guess if it were just us in a gym or something, I wouldn't feel that way, but on the street, yeah, I basically assume it's a dare or something. This has never happened to me. Story 3. Make eye contact, smile, approach the person, and say, "You are cute. Let's get coffee." Then provide your phone number. Expect a lot of rejection, as many attractive individuals are often pursued by multiple people. Story 4. I visited Rio de Janeiro when I was in the Navy. Shortly after leaving my ship to enjoy the city, a very pretty young blonde woman walked up to me and asked in passable English, "Are you off that American ship?" I admitted I was, and she then asked, "Would you like me to show you around town?" We had been cautioned about gangs using attractive young women to lure sailors like me into traps and rob them, but something convinced me to trust her. So I said, "Sure." We spent the next 3 days together. She indeed showed me around town, and we had a great time together. I liked this girl and got the impression she liked me too. She gave me her name and address and asked me to write to her. Later, when I returned to my ship, my wallet fell out of a torn pocket in my trousers, and someone, one of my shipmates, stole it. I wouldn't have minded so much if they had just taken the cash, but I really wanted that girl's name and address. So, anyway, just walking up and introducing yourself and asking a few questions might be a good way to get things started. Story 5. Have your intentions unclear. I want to question myself all day and possibly for the rest of my life about whether she was actually interested in me or just a nice person, and if I am overanalyzing the situation. Story 6. My wife approached me at a mutual friend's wedding. We connected that night, and our marriage is now nearly twice as long as that of the couple whose wedding we attended. Story 7. A simple, straightforward approach works best in my opinion. Ask if he is single. If so, tell him you like him and ask him out on a date. Story 8. More women need to take action because right now, if any woman approached me, I would assume she just wants my kidneys. Story 9. Walk up to the strange man. Congratulations. You've won a voucher for a free coffee. Just call me to arrange a time to redeem it. Hand him a card with your number and walk away. Story 10. First of all, I would feel incredibly flattered if a woman randomly complimented my appearance in public. Secondly, we are not that complicated. If you approach a man you find attractive and say, "Excuse me for bothering you, but I just wanted to let you know that I think you are very handsome," that compliment is likely to brighten his day. Story 11. You can walk up and say it, but 90% of the time I will say thank you and walk away. I am probably busy. Story 12. Just yesterday, I was leaving my apartment to go to work. I am a server in fine dining, so I wear nice trousers, non-slip dress shoes, a button-down shirt and tie, and a jacket. A beautiful older black woman, probably in her late 40s, was delivering a package to the apartment next to mine. She locked eyes with me, smiled, and said, "Wow, you look really nice." I was a little taken aback, so the best response I could muster was, "Thank you. That compliment will carry me through the next few years, I'm sure." Story 13. We received training on this at work. If an attractive woman approaches us, it may be perceived as an attempt at corporate espionage. Therefore, it is important to clearly state that it is not. Story 14. Act lost and ask for directions to a place where he might join you. If he is in a suit, ask where the nearest place to get coffee is. If it's evening, inquire about a wine bar. If he has a blue-collar appearance, ask for a good place to eat barbecue. If he is sitting on a motorcycle, ask where the nearest biker bar is. If he has a dad bod, ask where you can find good Mexican food and margaritas. Men appreciate a damsel in distress. Story 15. When I was younger, a girl walked up to me while I was busy as a bouncer, gave me a slip of paper, and asked me to call her sometime. She then returned to her table with her friends and continued her night as usual. I suggest you try that. I didn't call her for 2 weeks, but I eventually did. Story 16. Look at them, a sincere smile, a little embarrassed. They come over and say, "Hi, you look like my type. I really like your smile. So, do you want to go on a date? Here's my number. Text or call me sometime soon." "Okay, bye." Then you give them your number. Saying they are cute may make them suspicious because they rarely hear that. But you think they are your type? Their smile, hair, and eyes are nice? They might trust your judgment on that one. Story 17. An honest smile and a genuine compliment about anything would make his day. Just make sure that you don't look like a salesperson so we don't assume anything. Honestly, if introverts receive that compliment, they would be overjoyed and would talk about it for the rest of their lives. Story 18. Anytime this has happened to me, they approach and ask a question while introducing themselves. Usually, the type of woman confident enough to approach a random man in public will also be confident enough to ask for his number. If you approach a guy, be sincere and upfront. Many men are unfamiliar with being approached by women and may not know how to respond. I have experienced this and I still find it challenging. Story 19. Try this approach. "Hello. May I ask you something quickly? When you go out with someone for the first time, do you pay for their meal or split it?" Splitting the cost is definitely more common nowadays. "Would you like to split a meal with me sometime? Or do you prefer to pay?" That's such a gentlemanly thing to do. I would feel special if you treated me to a meal sometime. Here's my number. Please don't hesitate to call. Basically, you shouldn't just give your number without considering their response. Story 20. Find a way to start a conversation. Otherwise, I will assume it's a scam, especially in a busy place. Ask for help with something like directions or coffee shop recommendations based on his appearance. Men appreciate feeling useful. After exchanging a few sentences, you can mention that you don't actually need help and just thought he was cute. This will likely flatter him and clarify your intentions. Story 21. Just smile, approach someone, give a compliment, and share your number. "If I am busy, I might contact you later, but I may also be free and stop to chat." Story 22. It would make my day. I had 2 women at work tell me they liked my sweater, and now it's my favorite sweater. Story 23. If a girl comes to me smiling, says hello, and tells me she finds me cute, I'll melt completely, and my brain will stop working properly. So, it's not too complicated. She'll just need to be patient. Story 24. I met a girl while playing frisbee golf. As I played, she walked by, and we made eye contact. She kept walking but looked back at me, which made me regret not saying hello. Eventually, I saw her completing her loop, and I said hi. I believe the glance back made me realize we were both attracted to each other. She joined me for the rest of my frisbee golf round, and afterward we went to a brewery. Story 25. I believe it is a sales technique. If not that, then it may be a prank to embarrass or humiliate me. Story 26. Ask if he is single to qualify first and to express your intentions. Then leave your phone number or a way to contact you. Story 27. First, keep a piece of paper with your phone number handy. Make small talk about something they are wearing or doing and gauge their interest in conversing with you. If they seem uninterested or give off negative vibes, simply say, "Well, have a good one," and move on. If they appear friendly and engaged in the conversation, no matter how briefly, hand them the piece of paper and say, "Here's my number. Let's grab a coffee sometime." Story 28. Don't make it awkward. Just provide them with a way to contact you so you can connect and plan a day together. Make sure they are not in a relationship. Story 29. Excuse me, I just wanted to let you know that I think you look cute. I'm not looking for a date or anything. I just wanted to pass on the compliment. If you're available, here's my number. No pressure, though. Story 30. Yes, as the top post mentioned, just tell me. We are all stuck in this bubble where it's too hard to find someone. Just speak up, communicate, and take the chance. If it doesn't work, there will be more opportunities. Also, I personally love that Sadie Hawkins vibe. Story 31. Smile and maintain eye contact. Use shorter sentences and get straight to the point. While it's not necessary, dressing appropriately can help you communicate your intentions. Consider it a uniform for the type of person you want to attract. Story 32. Hi, sorry to bother you, but you look so familiar. I can't quite place it. Have we met? Where do you work? Maybe I recognize you from a photo, or you might be a friend of a friend. Anyway, I'm sorry to take up your time. If you're into coffee, I enjoy making friends, and you seem nice. When you text, you can transition from the friend zone by saying that instead of calling them nice, you really meant handsome. Then you can ask if they're single. You're welcome. Story 33. 1. If I don't respond when you say, hey, and wave, don't think I'm disregarding you on purpose. I'm just assuming you're getting someone else's attention behind me. 2. Please get closer and say, excuse me, or do you have a moment? 3. Be direct. I saw you and thought you were attractive. And 4. Optional. Here's my number. Would you be interested in a date? Interested in coffee and a chat sometime? Are you single? These are not the only options, just a few suggestions. Be direct. Don't hesitate to say what you want to know or express your intentions. It might lead to a longer conversation or it might not. It's hard to say. Story 34. Make some small talk and say you find them attractive. Then invite them on an affordable date to a safe location. Story 35. Hi, I saw you on the street, and I think you are cute. We do not get approached nearly enough to have preferences. Story 36. I assumed you were trying to deceive me or that someone with a camera would appear to create a strange prank. Story 37. I don't know. I've never been approached by a woman before. I would definitely find it stunning and brave. Story 38. My first thought is that I would like to go out with you. Unfortunately, due to the current state of affairs, men might be suspicious of that. I believe she should find a way to communicate that she is not after his money. Honestly, if an attractive woman approached me and asked me out like that, my first thought would be that she is trying to solicit clients, get donations for a charity, or recruit for a religion. Story 39. Say, hi, I think you are quite attractive, and I would like to get to know you. Would you like to grab some food or hang out sometime? Here is my number. If the conversation evolves, go with the flow. Story 40. Like they do in Nairobi. Walk up to me, one hand grabs my beard, the other hand goes right down the front of my pants and holds me like you're weighing a coin purse. Then say the magic words, you look like Jesus. Story 41. Because we don't have the same fears regarding safety, a straightforward, hi, what's your name? Or hey, I like your shirt will generally be well received. If the guy has a girlfriend or you're not his type, he will still appreciate the compliment. Story 42. I would approach with open arms, and it would truly make my day, week, and entire year, even if she isn't my type. Feels amazing to receive any compliment. I have received compliments only a few times in my life, and I still remember each occasion. Story 43. I would like you to come up and be honest. Hey, I just saw you and thought you looked cute. Can I give you my number or social media? I still think it might be a trap. I will probably be so flustered that I turn you down, but that's how I would want you to approach. Story 44. I have social anxiety, so I would probably end up panicking regardless of what she says. However, a simple introduction and asking for my number would suffice. Once I got over the panic, I would give my number to her. Story 45. I would say the general approach is to find a way to approach someone and start a conversation. Most of the time, if a man is getting attention from a woman, we tend to interpret it as flirting. However, if you are not looking to flirt and simply want to make a comment, you could drive by in your car with the window down and say, hey, you're cute. Story 46. I wouldn't. I interact with enough people at work, and if I am out afterwards, I really don't have the energy to engage with others. Story 47. I am thinking that if she makes eye contact and smiles at me, I will end up buying a lot of merchandise and try to recruit my friends. Story 48. I appreciate compliments from attractive women as they boost my confidence. Story 49. I don't think I would mind it. I would probably be flattered because that just doesn't happen. It would be out of the ordinary, though I would recognize that. Overall, I think I might feel like I'm being set up and probably wouldn't trust the woman very much. Story 50. Wave, approach, and give me a note that says you're cute with her number on it. It's straightforward, to the point, and easy to let you down gently. Story 51. Please do. I don't know about anyone else, but I am an anxious person, yet I enjoy talking to people. It depends, to be honest. For me, I find someone who is really loud and acts a bit like, I'm here, quite overwhelming, if you know what I mean. Story 52. Well, I would enjoy the moment. However, when I wake up and realize it was just a dream, I would be very upset. Story 53. It happened to me in college. I just said, okay, then put my earphones in and kept walking to my dorm. Story 54. Walk right up to him, greet him, and introduce yourself. Ask for his name and compliment him, saying you find him attractive or handsome. Request his phone number. If he shares his number, send him a text including your name. Miserable. What's your name? I think you're attractive. Can I have your number? Thanks. I just texted you, so now you have my number too. Story 55. Let's say hypothetically I wasn't married. Hey, you're cute. Would you like to go out sometime? That would do the trick. Story 56. It has never happened to me. Not once. I have never been complimented in public for any reason. It would be appreciated, but I will not hold my breath. Story 57. Hey, I saw your item and thought it looked cute. It doesn't even need to be romantic or imply romantic interest. You don't know how starved for compliments men are. Anything at all would positively make their whole month. Story 58. There is no wrong way to approach it. I always enjoy it when it happens. What they usually do is give me their phone number without saying a word. Story 59. If someone approaches me on the street this way, I assume it is one of about 7 different reasons before I think it is because they are genuinely attracted to me and actually asking me out. Dating apps are very frustrating, but that is the only scenario where I take this seriously and without suspicion. It can be disheartening to hear the same thing repeatedly, but it is what it is. Story 60. I would think it was some kind of joke or prank and start looking for cameras. To properly answer the question, hi, I think you're cute, and if you're interested, I would love to take you out sometime. Here is my number. Story 61. I would love to try that, but I am too scared of rejection, especially when I don't feel pretty or attractive. Story 62. I think people focus too much on the context. Using a random example from the street may not provide the answers you're looking for. In a different setting like a bar, a party, or a show without the pressure of a front, I would want her to be direct just as I feel the need to be. Out of respect, I'm not trying to play games. Personally, I prefer some interaction with a woman before asking for her number. More likely, I would be upfront and ask her out simultaneously. Being straightforward is my approach. Story 63. Why is this still a question? No man will dislike this. Yes, you will find 10 people out of a million who are too busy or have rare circumstances. However, this could improve the entire dating scene if more women embraced this approach. Story 64. Honestly, I just want someone to tell me I look cute. Maybe ask for my number or invite me out on a date. It's been years since I was last asked out. Story 65. I'll probably think it's a prank. One time at work, I work at a drive-through liquor store. A woman drove up to me, and the first thing she said when she opened the window was, "Are you single?" with a big smile. I didn't show it, but I was panicking and I said no. I was worried it was a prank because she had friends in the car, and she might have said it to get some laughs. Her response to my answer was simply, "Oh, okay." And then she ordered her drink. Story 66. Hi, my name is Revival. I think you look really nice. Believe me, you probably still won't be dating much because their head will explode. Things like that don't happen in a man's world. If my wife hadn't made the first move, I would still be single. She even invited me into her bed, and it took me a long time to make a clumsy, awkward move. I still had my doubts about whether or not that was what she actually wanted me to do. Story 67. I don't know. Given how I feel about myself, there is very little you could do to convince me of a genuine interest. Story 68. This did not happen to me often until I got married. My wife brings out the best in me, and others can sense it. When I am approached now, I try to politely deflect, although I do appreciate the confidence boost. I know there is no way I could ever find someone better than my wife. Story 69. Hello, my name is... Insert your name here. I saw you walking and thought you might be someone interesting to know. How about we get together sometime? Here is my number. Story 70. Hi, my name is... Your name. What is your name? I would like to go into the store over there and get your opinion on some of my purchase options. Will you help me out? It will just take a few minutes. You really don't have a choice here. If you say no, I will walk away slowly to let you regret your decision. Story 71. 1. Say something within the first 3 seconds of seeing him. The 3-second rule is key. Even if it's just a simple hey with a smile and wave. The best thing to say is, hey, I think you're handsome, and I'd love for you to take me out. Here's my number. Pull out a piece of paper, write your number on it, and hand it to him. Story 72. It is disappointing to see the responses from men who believe they are being pranked. I will start complimenting the men in my life much more from now on. Story 73. You should smile until you've seen the person 3 or 4 times. Then say, hello, I've seen you around a few times. Do you work or live nearby? Pay attention to his response. A smile indicates that he appreciates your interest. If he engages in conversation beyond just yes, continue the conversation. Keep it brief, but conclude with, let's have a cup of coffee sometime. From there, you can improvise. The door is open. Story 74. Men are so accustomed to being rejected or ignored that any pleasant interaction can brighten our day. Just say hello. You don't have to win us over or impress us with something funny or clever. Just acknowledge our existence, and mission accomplished. Story 75. Walking up to a person with generic flattery will likely be met with a generic or suspicious response, as if you were trying to sell something or lack serious intent. It is rare for men to receive compliments, so a mundane remark may be overanalyzed. Context and environment are incredibly important. I have a few anecdotes to illustrate both points, but for brevity's sake, I will share what captured my attention the most. A petite woman, about 5 feet 4 inches tall, began a conversation by complimenting my hair. She mentioned that I had broad shoulders and playfully said I could handle her like luggage. She even made flirty jokes, asking, should I call you Thor, Hercules, or Tarzan? Most importantly, you need to anticipate and accept rejection for any reason. If you are always afraid of being turned down, you will never be able to approach others. Story 76. Be feminine and casual, but do not lead with your sexuality. Instead, lead with your intellect. We should get along famously. Story 77. Just ask if he has a girlfriend. If he says no, proceed to say that you find him cute and would like to hang out. On the other hand, if he is in a relationship, just say, oh, okay, fine, and mention that you find him cute anyway before leaving, so it doesn't seem awkward. Story 78. Easy, non-weird way to do this. Say, hey, I like your style. Talk about clothing or something relevant for a few seconds to establish that you are friendly and genuine. Then say, you know, I am not from around here, and I will be in town for a week for work. I want to do something fun besides work while I'm here and actually see the city, but I don't know anyone. I know this is forward, but would you like to meet up at a place this week that's good for? Choose a food option. Only give them your first name and make a plan to meet at a public restaurant and see how it goes. If they ask for your social media right away, say, let's grab food first and then maybe. Later at dinner, if you like them and the vibe is good, you can confess that you lied about being from out of town because you thought they were cute. As a guy, I wouldn't think this was weird, and I also wouldn't mind that you told a small lie to hang out with me. If it doesn't go well at dinner, you can say, nice to meet you. I have a meeting in the morning. Goodbye. If the person is upset because you lied, you might have found someone who is very uptight. Proceed accordingly. Story 79. I cannot speak for other individuals, but for me, a simple "hi" got a moment would catch my attention immediately, unless you resemble someone who is trying to sell me something unusual. From there, just express your thoughts, ask for contact details, or even propose a date right away. Just keep it genuine, and I am confident it would work out. Story 80. I think there is no chance she is serious. It has to be a setup for a robbery or a prank, and there is a person with a camera nearby. A few girls did this in high school as a prank, and it hurts. I would just assume the worst and move on. Honestly, they probably wouldn't even have the opportunity to tell me why they approached. I would likely assume they were going to ask me to donate to charity and give my default response of sorry, I'm in a hurry when strangers stop me in public. Story 81. I would not want to approach a random guy like that, but I would smile and say hi. If he isn't married or in a relationship, then he can respond and see how it goes from there. Story 82. It has happened to me 3 times in my life, and I am riding those highs to this day. Everything good has already been said here, but it is so rare for this to happen to the average person that you cannot go wrong with something simple that does not raise their guard. A girl at a club came over and asked me my name. We started talking from there until I had to leave because my friend, who later turned out to be my soulmate, was sick in the plants outside. Story 83. On the street? Am I on my way to work, the gym, a club, or Planned Parenthood? If I'm on my way to work and you stop me, I will ignore you. My short walk from the parking lot to the office building is timed to the millisecond. If anything happens, I will be late. Story 84. I believe I have a solution to address the misconception some men have that a woman being straightforward must be a prank. This happened to me once at a park while I was flying remote-controlled helicopters. Start with the question, are you single? Or perhaps, do you have a girlfriend? If he is single, then you can tell him you think he looks cute, offer your number, and suggest going on a date. Women who find an attractive man appealing shouldn't assume he is single, so this leading question makes sense and minimizes the chances of it being perceived as a prank. Unfortunately, I was dating someone who turned out to be difficult at the time. Story 85. I would immediately think it's either a trap or one of those prank videos. I'm not an attractive man, though. Story 86. Hey, sorry I saw you and was instantly attracted to you. Are you single? If so, here's my contact information. Maybe we can hang out sometime to see if we have chemistry. If you're not single, I understand. If you would like to be friends, feel free to ask. Story 87. Usually ladies just say hi, how are you, and then ask where I am from. I travel frequently, especially in Pacific Asia, so that is a normal question. I think it is very cute. Story 88. You see, to us, that is like randomly giving a woman a gift card for a $1,000 shopping spree with no strings attached in an email to your spam folder. It seems too good to be true to trust a stranger not to scam or manipulate you. Moreover, I don't think we could handle a woman with so much self-confidence. Story 89. I have experienced it a few times. 2 girls dropped notes in my pocket while riding the bus in my trench coat. On another occasion, a girl smiled at me as she walked by, then pointed and said my Halloween makeup was cool. I responded by suggesting we go get a drink at the bar. Story 90. Hi, my name is, your name. And what is your name? My iPhone died, but can you tell me the spot price for Bitcoin? I need to place an order to sell 10 Bitcoin when I get my phone charged. Can you help me? Story 91. I just approached the guy and said it. Of course, in my case, I would appreciate it and thank you, but I will be thinking about what you are actually selling. Story 92. This is the only way I would ever find a girlfriend, sadly. It never happens, but if it did and she looked cute, it would definitely work. Story 93. Just approach, say hello, and give them a genuine compliment. Start a conversation and see where it leads. Most people would appreciate the gesture, but don't expect a perfect response every time. Story 94. If she was smiling and said, "You're cute. Can I have your number?" I would take her to a cafe immediately. Story 95. Just come up and say hello if you are really thirsty. Most good-looking men do not have a strong desire for women since they are accustomed to having attention from them all the time. If they find you interesting, take the initiative. I can imagine the average guy might need very direct signals that you are interested in them, and perhaps some tissue to clean up any spills. Being fit can help. Story 96. Say hi and awkwardly ask how you're doing. Do it in a naturally awkward way. It will look very cute. Just embrace the awkwardness. Story 97. Since I am introverted, smile a lot, shy, and wouldn't know what to say, it would be difficult for me to make eye contact, so I will hide my face. Story 98. I was walking through the carnival when a girl in a group yelled at me from across the street, saying her friend thought I was quite attractive. While that was flattering, it was also embarrassing, especially with many people around looking at me. If you want to say hello, just come up to me and introduce yourself, and we can go from there. Story 99. Well, my advice is to approach him and tell him how you feel. If you think he is cute, tell him. If he has a nice smile, tell him. Just be aware that some guys might think you are pranking them. Story 100. In a direct way, make your intentions perfectly clear. If there is any ambiguity, I will assume she is being friendly. Story 101. I would take it as a compliment. If she is not unreasonable and at least decent looking, I would give her my number. In no world would this happen to me. It feels like a dream. Story 102. I have had people start talking to me because of shirts I have worn or hats. Not every guy wears merchandise related to their hobbies, but overall, I find it easier to ask people questions about what they are doing or something related to the current situation. Sometimes it leads to a conversation, but other times I receive a response and the person moves on. Both outcomes are fine with me. Story 103. I agree with most opinions. It's important to be upfront and direct. As many have mentioned, this situation rarely occurs for most men, which may lead to some suspicion based on their current romantic circumstances. However, it is likely to be more successful than the typical subtle signals that are often misunderstood. If you come across as genuinely interested, meaning you are actually interested and explain your reasons for approaching, any single man seeking a relationship is unlikely to turn you away. Story 104. I had a friend, an average-looking guy. He did fine with the ladies, nothing special. Then he grew a beard, and it was like someone switched on a light. I would be sitting with him in a bar having a beer, just talking. The bartender came over and said to him, "That girl just bought you a drink." The girl was seated about 4 stools away, behind him while he was looking at me. He hadn't even seen her. I don't remember his reaction on this occasion, but it happened more than once. Story 105. She could literally say anything. If I am into her, then she cannot mess it up. If a girl ever notices me, I feel on top of the world forever about it. Story 106. Honestly, I wonder what her intention is. I have had my appearance criticized all my life, so I would be flattered but very suspicious. Story 107. She should saunter over to me and, with great confidence, look me right in the eyes and say, "Roses are red, violets are blue. Now let's go get some barbecue and beer and get busy." Story 108. A nice smile and a "Hi, how are you?" is always a nice start for me. People with charisma will know how to take it from there. Story 109. I suggest asking yourself how you would want to be approached. What words would you like to hear that would make you give your number? Now, here's a basic script that would work on me. "Hey, can I ask you something?" Then, "So, can I give you my number? You seem pretty cute, and I was wondering if you'd like to go out sometime. If not, no hard feelings. We won't be all, creepy. I feel in danger, unless you do it with a weapon in your hand." But you might want to add, "And I swear this is not a prank." Story 110. I don't see myself as a cute guy. I would just try to make people smile, but I may not do it very effectively. I will never know if their intentions are good or bad. Story 111. I would think I am being pranked or set up as a joke about my weight, since that has happened in the past. Story 112. Like Michael Jackson, "Hey, Hunky Dumpty with the chunky dump." I see you hit those legs at least twice a week. Come on. I've got you in the scope like iodine. You seem decent. I bet you know right from wrong. Story 113. I often get approached by men at the grocery store who tell me I'm pretty. One day, a guy came up to me and said, "Excuse me, but I think you're beautiful. Are you with anyone?" I was single at the time, but I told him I was not, and thanked him. He was cute, but it felt strange to me. I thought about how I knew nothing about him, and how I could give my number out to someone I didn't know. Nowadays, it's sad that we are used to online dating, even though it can be scary because people often lie on those websites. We receive hundreds of messages from strangers each day and end up giving our number to a man after chatting for a week or two, thinking we know them because of pictures and a well-written profile. You just never know. Story 114. Most guys want to be the hunter. I personally have never had a girlfriend and always have trouble talking to a female if I find her attractive. I like when people approach me, including guys, girls, and animals. However, I would probably think that she believes I am unattractive and is testing out a new skill on someone she doesn't feel intimidated by. Story 115. No woman is going to approach a man on the street because he looks attractive. That is a dangerous action that puts her at risk. A teenage girl may approach another teenager, but that is because she does not perceive any threat. Unfortunately, in today's world, it is indeed very risky, as many things can go horribly wrong. Story 116. I probably would not. I am already focused on something else. I just want to do that and move on to the next task. Story 117. It's so unlikely to happen that I would think it was a cruel joke or a scam, or perhaps a hidden camera prank. I would even express all of these thoughts to her and then ask if she is being serious. Story 118. Women rarely approach men. A woman is likely to be successful if she initiates flirting. It is surprising that women are afraid to approach men due to fear of rejection. If anyone should be fearful, it is men. The simple act of saying hello to a woman can be considered inappropriate behavior depending on the man's appearance. So, step up and take the initiative because men are largely done approaching women. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.